Have you ever wanted to write a book? I've been fixated on this idea the past few months. An idea based on a fact that I found on the internet. Basically, it says most people want to write books. And the reality is that many of those people who think I can write a book, I should write a book, I want to write a book, never actually write a book. Why do we not write the things we want to write? If you wake up and you say, I want to write a book, what is stopping you personally from doing that? Is it a lack of time or a lack of time management? Too many distractions or the inability to manage your distractions? Is it that you don't know what you're doing, or you don't want to take the time or make the effort to figure out what you need to be doing? You can't just say, I don't know how to write a book, so I'm not going to write one. Does anyone really know what they're doing when they start writing a book? No, I don't think so. Is the hardest part for you starting? Have you ever actually started writing a book? Because if that's your biggest hurdle, then the only solution is to start. Whatever your reason for not starting is, it's just an excuse. It's not legitimate and you just need to get over it. Now, is that easy to do? Of course not. I've wanted to start this one project that I'm not going to talk about again on this channel for like 2 years. Why have I not started it? I guess technically I have, but the more fully formed idea that I have, why have I not started it? A lot of reasons, mostly because I don't know what I'm doing. That's a terrible excuse. I just need to figure it out by doing it, because I know that's how I figure things out. Are you really bad at finishing once you start something? Now that's something different. A lot of people will start writing a book, but they never actually finish because they just, I don't know, get bored or get stuck. I think you have to learn to work through that, and the only way to learn to work through that is by doing, is by starting first of all. But once you get past starting and you're like 2 chapters in and all of a sudden you're like, I don't know what comes next. There are a lot of different ways to fix that. There's the simple overused walk away, go do something else, come back. But writing wise, you know, write a different scene, write a scene you're not even sure is going to be in the book. You're not working on your book if you're not writing, or I guess revisions in later stages. But if you haven't even started writing a book yet, then don't even think about revisions or anything beyond finishing the first draft. That's what catches a lot of people off guard, is they start writing something, or maybe they don't even start and they think, well, this isn't perfect, this isn't good, this isn't like the book that I read last week, it's not, it has flaws. Well, of course it does, it's a first draft. You don't think, you want to think that the book that you started writing yesterday is publishable. Well, it's not possible. If you think you're going to write a publishable book, why is it so hard to say? If you think you're going to write a good book on the first try, you need to do some research. Because no book that's published is the first draft. I mean, like, I'm sure there are books that have been self-published out there that are first drafts. And that's not me bashing self-publishing, because I've done it. Meaning that I've self-published. I've never self-published a first draft. That would be stupid. Start writing a book in the mindset that it's going to be terrible. That's what's gotten me through most of the drafts that I've ever started / finished, is knowing that this is not going to be a good book the first time around. That's not only okay, it's completely normal. Of course you're not going to write a perfect book the first time you ever sit down and write a book. You're not amazing like that. I mean, you're pretty amazing for not only wanting to write a book, but attempting to start one. Some people never even start. So if you've already started, good for you, you're awesome. But it's going to be bad. And you just have to go in knowing that, because in my experience. It might not be the same for you. Everybody's different, to be clear. You kind of have to learn to laugh at yourself a little bit. Like, you'll go in and you'll write something and you'll kind of just sit back and think, wow, that was really dumb. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that later. Haha, I'm so terrible. But then you keep writing because you're like, well, if I wrote one terrible scene and the world didn't end, maybe if I write this one, if it's just as terrible, oh well, but if maybe it won't be as terrible as the last one. And out of that first draft, I've heard multiple authors say that 10% you'll keep, 90% you'll eventually revise and put other better things in place of what you had before. So 10% of what you're going to write in this first draft, let's just say, is going to be really good. It might end up in a final draft that you might get published someday. So if anything, start writing a book with the goal to write some good stuff, because at least then you have something to work off of. When you have a first draft that's finished, quote unquote, the entire game changes. But we're not going to get there yet because you haven't even started. If your goal this year is to write a book, or to start writing a book for that matter, or to finish a first draft that you started and never completed, just do it. Know that it's going to suck, because all of them do, even if it seems like they don't. I think more authors need to share their terrible first drafts, but that's just my opinion. Try your best, whatever your best is. It doesn't have to be in line with anybody else's best. Your best is your best. If your best is terrible right now, hey, at least you're trying, because there are a lot of people who never will. Writing is about trying really hard and sucking a lot, but somehow in the end creating something pretty great, like years from now, probably. You're not a terrible writer because you wrote a terrible book. Your book is just not there yet. That's it. It's going to get there, at least if you put in the time and effort. You have goals, or a goal. If your goal is to write a book, stick around, because maybe I can help you with that. Hey, if you like supporting people on Patreon that you like, probably based on this video you're not gonna, but check out my other stuff because it's a lot better than this. Maybe this helped you. I don't know.